full-on chart. And then I would like mention like my dad and my mom's and like Eric's birthdays and stuff, and she'd like write it in there and then draw like certain lines to certain points, and she's like, oh, this line connects with this line, and blah blah blah.
It's just in her mind.
Yeah.
She's just that great. Yeah, wow.
She's that good. Yeah. That experienced.
She's like, I can predict most things, but not the lotto.
She's lived many lives, man. That's in there.
Oh yeah.
There's so much stuff though. Like there's so much esoteric stuff. Like you start with the tarot, and then you start with the astrology, and then there's like a ton more stuff.
She was like, "Oh, you're gonna have a boy," and I was like, "Well, my partner already has a boy," and she's like, "Oh, then it's gonna be a girl because." The way that Eric is intersecting your like feminine birth area in your chart, it's a female essence there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's weird.
Okay. So.
Yay.
Okay, wait. I guess we all know each other. So but
go around the circle.
Yeah, just say you're like sun, moon, and rising. So I'm a Leo rising, a Virgo sun. I'm
a Leo rising.
Leo rising, Virgo sun, and Gemini moon.
I am a Gemini sun, Sagittarius rising, and an Aquarius moon. Yes. Yeah.
I am a Taurus sun, a Libra moon, and a Gemini ascending.
Ooh.
And then my mom, she's sun like Cancer. Her moon is Libra. Wait, are we both Libra for moons? God, that's so strange.
Yeah.
And then her ascending is Leo.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's what I said.
Tell me what's
She also, I feel like you act like a Leo, but you also look like a Cancer.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
You're very
like your
boisterous.
face. No, but like your face and like your facial features, like it looks like the moon, you know?
Okay.
Like it's like very, like it's nice and round and
that is nice.
feminine, you know? Yeah.
Nice.
But definitely the Leo rising makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And then
It's good.
So what day is it today even?
The 27th of
yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah. So we had like the most recent thing that happened like yesterday, which is probably should be noted, is that Chiron went retrograde. Which I talked about on my Instagram. But basically the planets in the sky, I've talked about retrogrades before, you know, everyone talks about, you probably heard about Mercury retrograde, right? Yeah. Everyone talks about Mercury retrograde. So the planets in the sky, most of them look like they're moving in like this direction, right?
Yeah.
But then there will be a point where it kind of like stops moving and then it starts going backwards.
Oh, weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
That's what's called a retrograde.
Okay.
But it has to do with, it's actually just like an optical illusion. Like it has to do with the positioning of Earth in relation to that planet that's going retrograde.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes when Earth goes like around the sun, for example, that planet from the perspective, when we're like crossing over the sun, it'll look like it's moving backwards, even though it's not.
Yeah.
In my mind, I always think of like, because I do tarot quite a bit, so like a tarot card face like up is like normal planet sign, but if it's reversed, then it's like a retrograde thing. It's like the opposite meaning, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. That makes sense to me.
That does make sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes.
It's a win.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it means when a planet goes retrograde. But so Chiron went retrograde. Chiron is an asteroid, but it's gotten like a lot of attention and people really like to talk about Chiron.
Chiron.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking you were talking about Chiron.
But Chiron is like Chiron in astrology is like it's called the wounded healer,
It's
right?
like your biggest insecurity, kind of.
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I like to call it the Carisha's here.
Oh. It's like
Wow.
isn't it like the wounded healer?
I haven't seen Carisha in forever. Hi, Carisha.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't it called the wounded healer? or
Yes,
something?
it is called the wounded healer.
What happened like not last weekend? Because my mom and I, we went at it.
Really?
There was
Pregnancy
probably a lot of
hormones,
stuff. There's a lot. That was the full moon in
I
Capricorn.
told her she was speaking
Right.
rudely to me, and then she's like, "Just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you get to be rude to me."
It was also the full moon last weekend, and we both got our periods the same day.
My mom's probably going to
Yeah, this is like every woman bleed now. With the big
It's actually-
orange moon.
yeah.
It was crazy. It was like very.
It's really strange too. I feel like it's always one person's like the alpha though. Do you know what I mean? Like someone someone starts the syncing and everyone syncs up to that one person, right? So it's like
Let's see, she's like, get away from me.
so is your mom the alpha then? Is she the alpha? She's an alpha female.
When I lived on the island, I had 3 girl roommates, and we all were on the same cycle.
Yeah, no, you do sync up.
Yeah, it was
Like,
bad.
all
Like our
girlfriends,
trash
so-
can was just all the time just loaded.
That's gnarly.
I feel like you need to also, I feel like a way to combat that though, that at least it's like, because mine used to always be like, not like quite irregular, but it was like borderline irregular, where it would be like 27 days, 23 days,
Yeah.
28 days, 21 days. And then I started paying more attention to the moon.
Okay.
And then it synced up with the moon.
Oh, because you were like more in line with what was going on. Your body was
Yeah,
like,
and so it's like, basically for a while I was getting it during the full moon, and then because it was irregular, it like wasn't happening that way, and now I'm synced up actually to the new moon. So when it's a new moon, I bleed on the new moon, and then I'm like ovulating on the full
That's
moon.
like
feels
pretty
right.
wicked though. Like I don't know why it seems so.
But it like always happens. But it's literally always been these past few months. It's always been within like a day.
Yeah.
Of like the new moon, and I'm like, this is crazy.
I've been
I should
recording
see what
my
I
chart.
should
I'm
do.
like, oh, heard
Yeah.
Not happening.
They need to research that. They really should research that though. Because the thing is, the menstrual cycle is a roughly the same amount of time as the lunar cycle.
Well, our months are supposed to be 28 days too, but then somebody fucked that up.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have 13 months
Yeah.
to be in line with the 13 houses, and then I don't even know what happened.
Well, I think it's because we align ourselves with the sun. That's why.
Fair.
As opposed to
Lauren
the
told
moon.
me I was key fertile in a couple months, and then the next thing you know, Lauren, I'm pregnant.
Oh, you called it, did you?
Yeah, no, well, she had, okay, the eclipse was happening in her, like, 5th house, right?
Yeah.
And so the 5th house is the house of, it's the house of creativity and sexuality,
Yeah.
but traditionally it was the house of children, right? So I was like, I made a joke just at my Astro Meet when we were talking about the eclipse. I was like, oh, it's happening in your 5th house. That would be a really great time to get pregnant. Like, kind of, haha, like as a joke. And then literally, like, a few months later, she's like, oh, guess what? And I was like, okay.
Yeah. And she called the gender too. Yeah.
I did. Well, it's because I feel like you can kind of sense, maybe it's just the energy of the baby, like if it's going to be like a more masculine or feminine. But then again, though.
Well, she's going to be a cusp baby too, because her due date's the 24th of November, so she's either Scorpio or Sag.
Oh. We were talking about it a while ago that we don't
Scorpio
know
babies
why
are good.
it's Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lane's a Scorpio.
Yeah, I've been having, like, pretty much everyone that came into my work today was a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like people don't talk about Sagittariuses though a lot. Like I've gotten comments too where people are like, talk about the Sagittarius
like I'm a
more.
rising Sagittarius.
Yeah.
I feel like people don't talk about Sagittarius a lot, but they should.
Yeah. What's unique about them?
Well, they're Jupiter. Sages are Jupiter ruled,
I mean,
right?
So unique. Huh.
They're Jupiter ruled, right? So Jupiter's the planet of luck and abundance, right?
Oh, they're so lucky.
So they are very lucky.
They're
very
lucky.
good.
That's what the psychic told me. Is I'm actually very lucky.
They're very good at like manifesting, right?
Honing in.
Getting what you want.
Being intuitive with their.
Yeah, they're also generally very like smart. Sagittarius is interesting because it's a mutable fire sign. And fire signs are typically very energetic and driven towards a particular goal, but with the mutability, it's very interesting with the Sag because it's like
a stable drive.
Yeah.
But then I was also talking to the psychic too, and I was like, "Oh, do you know if like I deliver early or not?" And she's like, "Oh, it always depends on the moon." So.
Okay.
Yeah.
The moon will be like, give birth now.
Yeah.
First one's your mom.
Yeah.
No, well, there is a astrological technique called. It's basically like your progressed lunations that follow that look at like the new moon. I think it's the new moon after your birth. And it's like the progressed lunar cycle, basically. It's different than the regular lunar cycle. Yeah.
Crazy. The more you know.
It's a predictive technique. But yeah, so basically, I was talking about Chiron though, and then everyone got distracted. But so basically, Chiron went retrograde yesterday, right? And Chiron is, I like to call it the trauma asteroid, right? Its name is the wounded healer, right? Because it reflects a very deep wound that we hold, or a very deep insecurity, right? And where it is in your chart, that will show you which house it's in, will show you where that insecurity resides, right? And with Chiron going retrograde, when a planet goes retrograde, you want to kind of like slow down because the planet's slowing down, right? And then it's reversing directions. So all of the progress that you made up until this point, you're going to have to backtrack. And you're going to be taken through the same themes that you've seen. So it's kind of like a reemergence of old themes, right? Yeah. So it's a time for you to kind of reflect on the themes that are being brought up by your particular Chiron placement in your birth chart. But also with Chiron being in the sign of Aries, Aries is a sign of the individual, right? It's all about like self-expression, self-esteem, self-perception, right? So the theme is specifically going to be related to maybe trauma surrounding how you express yourself, right? Or your ability to not care as much about what others think of you, right? That's kind of like what you're going to be seeing most likely. And you want to look kind of at your chart and look to where that Aries house is, because that house is also going to kind of like show you where some like the life area where you're going to be seeing some of that, right? The backtracking. Tegan says, "Oh God, the backtracking."
Scorpio in the 12th house.
Your natal Chiron? Where's Aries in your chart? Because that's where Chiron is right now for you. Yeah.
Aries.
It's true though, it is a backtracking, unfortunately.
I'm just looking at yours now. Yours is...
Mine's in the 9th house. My Aries is in the 9th house. So that's the house of travel and mental expansion, right? So seeing trauma come up with traveling, right? Or seeing issues come up with traveling, or like things that kind of trigger you maybe, or things that feel like they're restricting your self-expression, right?
Yeah.
Through travel or through...
The, like V one? Or no?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
That's Aries. It is in my 4th house, it looks like.
My Aries?
Yours is in the 9th house as well.
Okay.
So travel,
So
wisdom,
travel.
No, that's your
power,
5th house.
education, law, religion,
But the line.
So like taking
Yeah,
a
that's
look
the
at those
cusp.
things,
That's the 5th.
basically they'll test you.
5th house. That's the cusp of the 5th.
Okay.
Well, will depend on the degree that Aries is at. Let me check and see the degree that Aries or that Chiron's at right now in Aries. Degree, I think it's in the later degrees.
I think that's enough too.
Chiron is it's at 19 degrees of Aries. So let me see. So specifically 19 degrees of Aries. So that's like right.
Mine is money, work, income.
That's right on the 5th house cusp. So that is
Get ready for your
home
life.
family. That could, to me, it could be like, again, 5th house being the house of creativity and sexuality.
Me fighting
It
with
could
my
be,
mom.
well, yeah, that as well as like pregnancy, right? Like your pregnancy, because again, the 5th house is associated with children and like childbirth and stuff. So, do you know what I mean? Like it could be the theme for you probably is like maybe limiting of personal freedom because you're having a child, right?
True.
So like children in a way, children are great, right? But sometimes they can impede like your self-expression or like your individuality.
Well, yeah, I haven't been able to smoke weed.
Ah, shit.
The biggest issue here, people.
Can you eat a gummy? No.
So yeah.
Or I can't eat my spicy
And then
Cheetos.
so yeah. Tegan, I wonder if Tegan's listening. Tegan, do you have is your 9th house Aries? Aries 9th house? Yeah. That can also be, 9th house is also for me because it's in my 9th house. That's also trauma. The 9th house is associated with school as well, like education. So it can be like trauma surrounding education.
That's a big one for me, yeah.
Trauma, right? Do you know what I mean? It could be like maybe you wanted to go back to school, for example, or like just take a course. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't, and it doesn't have to be 9th house as well. So this all of the education stuff that we're talking about is Tegan's also probably going through some of this, but like maybe you want to like go back and like do a course. Maybe it's in something like esoteric, even like you could do like a tarot reading course, but maybe like you're anxious about it or you don't want to, because that's what I'm kind of going through right now is like I want to do like formal schooling in astrology, right? But it's like, because I did have a traditional education, like I was in psychology, like I did my honors degree, right? And I found it like it was very tough and it was very intense and it was very like traumatizing, borderline traumatizing in some ways. Because it's like the thing is in academia, it's a bunch of old white guys that are doing research and they're telling you what to do, and you have to like analyze your data and arrive at conclusions that are in line with what they want to hear. You know what I mean? So it can feel very daunting to want to go back into like going to pursue school, even if it's something that's not like a formal, like a formal sort of, environment.
Well, it's also a lot of pressure.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go through that again, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's also like me. That's also like there's a self-awareness there of like maybe everything's not going to be like the same. Right? Yeah. Like maybe it is going to be a different experience.
Different courses.
Yeah. With different professors, different teachers, and it's a different area of study too, right? Like astrology is very different than like a more traditional education, you know? Yeah. But that's kind of what I mean, right? It could be something like that,
Just learning, right?
Yeah. 9th house learning.
You're like, I'm good. I don't know.
Could be just not knowing.
Yeah. To both life. I think just doing stuff like that.
With Chiron, with the 9th house too is all about expansion, right? As well. So it can feel like with Chiron being there, it can feel like there's some, like maybe you feel alienated in some ways, or maybe you feel like you're being contracted in some ways and you're not free to express yourself how you want to. Yeah. Right?
Well, with the travel aspect of it, like my parents go on the boat pretty much all summer. Yeah. And they're just returned from
Yeah.
being away for like a month or so.
We got left June 1st, and now we're back for this week, and then we leave next weekend till October, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely lots of travel aspects.
Yeah, but we're meeting people, and we're learning how to do working on different islands. And so we're meeting the community, and we're helping do things, fix things and projects and stuff.
Yeah,
which is fun. Because I'm learning doing that. Joe just orders me around. I'm his little assistant.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because Chiron
but
too.
It's fun.
Yeah,
But it's fun because we get to work together.
Yeah.
We're making good money, and I've never worked construction. But I just pass them tools. We make makeup things because I don't know all the screwdrivers, so we call one big red and one big orange, and make it work right away, and it makes it fun. There's Wesley Snips.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting too because Chiron is also often it's kind of kind of indicates alienation as well. So meeting other people who are outcasts, or who aren't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, there's been some people.
But it's do you know what I mean? It's
some people.
it's also for example, for me though, also going through traditional schooling to moving towards a more a different type of learning is also you're moving, because again, astrology isn't really something that's taken seriously. A lot of esoteric things aren't taken as seriously, which is nice in some ways, right? Because it's astrology is an alienated practice, right? People don't it's not seen as a legitimate thing, right? So it's with Chiron, and it's just very funny to me because it's I've been reflecting on it. It takes some reflection when I talk about these planetary things. You might not understand the theme as it applies to you at first, but the more you reflect on it, the more it'll make sense, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that happened yesterday, and then for August. What am I saying?
For, by the way,
Chiron is retrograde. It'll be retrograde for a while.
Oh,
months.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Goes all the way one way, and that's for all the time.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. And it goes back.
It goes forward.
And back.
It's literally 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
That is literally what a retrograde is. And that's what all the planets do, is they go forward and then they're oh, wait, maybe you need to learn a little bit more about this thing. Let's go backwards. And then it's frustrating though, because it feels you'll have moments where it feels you're going back, you're going backwards, you know, where you're
I've been here, done this.
But it's also you feel you haven't, all your efforts are for nothing, right?
Yeah.
You kind of get that feeling.
A little better.
Exactly.
I've been here before.
Yes, exactly. That's the outlook to have.
I can handle this a little better now because I've just literally done this 6 months ago. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So don't get too down on yourself.
Yeah.
Basically, is the moral of the story.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything passes.
And then so August 4th, August, that's crazy. New moon at 12 degrees of Leo, okay? That's going to be really fun. It's going to be sextile both Mars and Jupiter in Gemini, right? So it's very energetic, right? Gemini and Leo are both masculine signs, right? And they both are typically very extroverted, right?
So have a party.
Yeah, literally have a party. I think that's on a Wednesday though, or something. So maybe have it a couple days later or something. It would be good. It's a good new moon for a party, just saying.
Okay.
But with Jupiter and Mars involved in this new moon, we're thinking about our goals and our aspirations, right? And we're coming up with a plan to reach them. But I think there could also be feelings of restlessness and frustration coming up because there's a little bit of distraction with this new moon that's happening with all this Gemini energy, right? The new moon sextiling both Mars and Jupiter in Gemini, right? Because Geminis are a mutable air sign, right? They like to do lots of things at once.
Ooh, I can already see this becoming a problem.
Yes.
Totally.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally ADD, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I always say that people with Gemini, if you have a lot of Gemini in your chart, you have ADHD.
Yeah.
Go to a therapist. Go to a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Looks at your chart, go to therapy.
Yeah. No, literally, I do feel like I need to say that sometimes to people. Like, yo, you've got some issues with this.
That's funny.
Good thing I have an appointment with mine soon.
Yeah. So basically it's frustrating though, because maybe there's like a goal or like a plan that we've like set out to do, but we're getting like distracted by all these things, all these nice things, right? We're like that's like me right now is like with this Gemini energy, because my moon's in Gemini, right? I'm like, I want to have all these different hobbies, right? Like do all these different things, right? Mm-hmm. But there's still like this one thing that we're trying to commit to, but we just can't really seem to get there, right? And that's why we're getting frustrated, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's like the distractions are nice, but they're also frustrating because they're distracting us from like our main goal.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Story of my life.
Right? It really does.
And then that same day, so August 4th there's a lot of stuff going on August 4th, okay? Venus is going to enter Virgo, okay? Venus in Virgo, there's this also Venus when it enters Virgo right before it enters Virgo. It's going to be forming an inconjunct to Neptune, which is just like an aspect between Venus and Neptune. And so it's coming back to this theme of deception versus discernment. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe.
Explain.
Yeah. So basically Venus, right? Venus is the planet of love and relationships. And it's the planet of connection, right? Whether it be like platonic relationships you have with your family, or like romantic relationships that you have with, your partner. And some people, when they get into a relationship, they have the rose-colored glasses on, right? That's what I mean when I say deception.
Okay.
Is you're looking at this person through your own projection of your ideals onto them, right? You're not actually seeing them for you're not actually seeing them for who they are, right? You're just you're just seeing them for who you want them to be.
Yeah.
So beer goggles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
it just lasts a while.
that's the deception piece, right? That's where Neptune is coming in, because Neptune's the planet of deception and dreams and illusion, right? And it's going to be making an aspect to Venus, right? Okay. But then Venus is going to enter Virgo. And Virgo is the opposite of that. Virgo is the opposite of deception. Virgo is discernment, right? Virgo is, I see you for who you are, but it can also be a little bit nitpicky as well. Like with Venus in Virgo, what? Yeah? Why are you sticking at me? What is it?
Okay, so we have this friend, and she just got a new boyfriend, and then we are...
Is it Kyron?
Hey!
So she finally dumped that other guy?
Oh, yeah.
That's good. I didn't like him.
No, he was not that cool. But we were all like super obsessed with him, and everyone like in the whole friend group, it was like super excited. And then now, like recently in the past few weeks, there's just been like little blips popping up about like, oh, like that's who you are. kind of thing.
That's
And
that-
I think personality.
Yes.
I'm so ready for this.
You're gonna see more of that
Yeah.
Venus in Virgo. But so the thing is, there will be a period right before Venus goes into Virgo where people have that, a little bit of that, oh, I'm seeing this person with rose-colored glasses. But when Venus goes into Virgo, people are going to be looking at their partners and saying, who the hell are you? Who the hell did I get into a relationship with? Because it's a little, but the thing is too, is it can, with this, Venus is this is why though Venus is in its detriment, or not its detriment, its fall in the sign of Virgo. Tegan's asking what day that is. That's the 4th, August 4th, new moon. That's the day of the new moon.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Could it also be that
Is it a Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe you can have a party then on Saturday night.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Tyler's birthday's on the 11th, so
Is it?
maybe we can just have it early.
Mm-hmm.
But could it also be that you're like, okay,
Yeah, August
I see
4th.
you and I like you?
Yeah, it can be that. It can be that. It's just a little bit, Venus is in its fall in Virgo because people do tend to be too discerning. Like they're reading too much into things. Like there's too much of the discernment where it's getting to a point where you're getting nitpicky. I would actually say that's not really discernment. It's just like you're being nitpicky, right?
Okay.
It's kind of like you're digging. It's like you're kind of digging, like people do this thing that this term I learned, it's called like trauma digging, you know?
Yeah.
You try to find
Sort
the
of,
dirt.
it's like you're trying to find the dirt, you're trying to see what's wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
Even though that there's nothing wrong with
No.
this person, but you're like, there has to be something wrong with you, right?
Too good to be
So-
true, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying with deception versus discernment, right?
Yeah.
That's that theme, is that's that polarity, deception and discernment.
Right.
And again, you can swing too far one way. So with Venus in Virgo though, people will be more likely to be a little bit more discerning. Maybe
Call you out on your shit.
yeah, call you out on your shit.
Okay, so it'll be a really interesting party.
Especially if there's alcohol involved.
But just remember, one goes one way, you expect somebody else to say something about you. So
But I do think part of the reason though,
the road goes both ways.
that's part of the reason though, I do think that the Venus in Virgo, I am looking forward to that. I'm biased because I'm a Virgo. But it's good because people in situations that people who have been deceived by someone or by something,
Yeah.
they will be able to see clearly, right?
That's how
You know?
Love that.
And this is also, the thing is with this too, Mercury on the same day is going to be going retrograde in the sign of Virgo.
Oh god, so like super Virgo.
Super Virgo. So this theme is going to be doubly emphasized.
Like super see your shit.
Super see your shit.
Yeah.
That's the title.
Super August 4th. That's the name of the party.
Yeah, it
Going
could probably,
retro.
it can, yeah, that's a good point. You can probably be a little bit too nitpicky, not only with other people, but with yourself as well, too,
Yeah.
right? You can be getting a little bit down on yourself, or like, oh, like I'm not, because Virgos are very perfectionistic, right? They do have very high expectations for themselves, right? So with Venus and Virgo, there's also that theme of like self-love, right? Venus is also about loving yourself, your relationship to yourself too. We might be a little bit too picky concerning our own behaviors and our own actions, right?
Yeah.
So again, discernment is good, but too much, there is such thing as like too much of a good thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's August 4th. That's all happening on August 4th. That's a lot of stuff happening on August 4th. Lots of energy there. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to confront someone, though, that's a good day to confront them.
Okay, I'll mark it on my calendar.
Yeah.
I want to hang out on the floor.
It's
You
a
just
fun party.
invite everyone to this party on Saturday that you just want to.
Everyone, it's just
Set up
like,
chairs in a circle. It's like a therapy
Intervention.
session. Intervention.
you're just like you're just like picking each other apart. Like, I hate this about you. I hate when you do this.
That party.
Never coming back. Just
That'd be fun.
Yeah, Virgos are, someone in the chat said Virgos are very cynical. That is true. Virgos are very cynical and pessimistic. Ugh. But the thing is though too, there is like a lot of that Virgo on August 4th, but there's also Leo. There's also Gemini. Those are both very fun. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
so it's like it's balancing it out, you know?
I'm fine.
Yeah. And then August 7th, we've got the Sun sextile Jupiter. This is also really good. This is also really good for party time. Sun sextile Jupiter. Optimism, sense of faith, and connection will all be highlighted, right? Because the sun is the planet that represents our vitality, right? It represents like our life force, our energy, right? And it also represents us as individuals, like our individual almost like aura that you like possess, right? That's like your sun, right? And Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance, right? So when Jupiter touches the sun, what it's doing is it's increasing that life force. It's increasing that vitality, right? So it's very nice when Jupiter and the sun are together, right? Because people are optimistic, they're extroverted, their you know, faith in humanity is like restored, right? Sort of thing, you know? So it's very nice. It's also going to be fairly sociable as well because again, the sun during this time is going to be in Leo, right? So you've got Jupiter in Gemini and the sun in Leo, right? So like Jupiter is going to emphasize that nice Leo-ness of the sun. The thing is too, the sun naturally rules over Leo, right? So that's going to be it's just going to be a lot of fun, okay? A lot of fun.
I feel like it sounds like a lot of like personality, but just like pure personality. Like with the like Venus entering Virgo, like I think it's going to be just like pure personality, like really social. Which sounds like fun.
Like straightforward interactions. Yeah.
Talking to people.
Yes.
I will say though to watch out for like burnout as well.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes if you're someone who's very introverted and the energy is very extroverted, it can be like, wow, like what is going on?
You put that out there.
Yesterday.
And then you do that, and then you go back and then you hibernate for a day or two.
Exactly.
Kind of restore your cup, you know?
Like, So it's like be sure to like, again, party time, right? Party time. Sun sextile Jupiter, go out and just go crazy.
Go ham, Jesse.
But don't overdo it, right?
Okay.
Like,
Well, she knows. Jessie goes ham, and then she's like, I'm gonna go and rest.
Lay down for a
With my
while.
cats and my blanket. I'll see you in a week. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Come on, my movies.
And then August 14th.
Is that it for August? That's the whole thing for August 14th?
No.
Okay, I was going to say, that's a lot.
August 14th, we have Mars conjunct Jupiter. Okay?
Okay.
So that's Mars is the planet of action, aggression, assertion, and motivation. Like it's our drive. To like get to a certain goal, right?
Yeah.
And then Jupiter again is expanding that. So it's going to be like a lot of drive, right?
Yeah.
And Mars this month, I've been noticing this theme of Mars featuring very strongly this month, making it like a very active month. But again, because Mars and Jupiter, they're forming a conjunction, which is great for our motivation, our energy levels, but this conjunction is happening in the sign of Gemini. And remember what I was saying earlier about Geminis, sometimes we can get distracted by all these little side projects, all these amazing little things, all these little, you know, great amazing things, right? So we've got like a lot of options basically, right? Mm-hmm. There's too many projects, too many interests, right?
Can that be for people that don't have Gemini in their chart too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can feel a bit overwhelmed and overstimulated, and again, being frustrated with ourselves because we're like, I had this goal, but I'm not meeting this goal, right? Because I'm doing all these little side things. I'm doing all these little side projects. I'm painting. I'm trying to like start a side hustle. I'm trying to learn how to like crochet, like whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're doing like 5 things at once, right? And we get like frustrated because we're not like staying on track, you know? But the thing is too, I think the lesson is to kind of stop and smell the roses, you know? And engage with that Gemini energy, because that Gemini energy is very like childlike, and it's very curious, right? So when we engage with that energy and we indulge that energy and just kind of let ourselves be distracted from time to time by things that we enjoy, it can actually do a lot of healing for us, right? Because we're kind of like healing that inner child, right? Because, you know, when you just like go through school or when you just go through life, it's like everyone's trying to tell you what to do, and you have to do this assignment, you have to meet this deadline, you have to do this, you have to make it to this like end, there's like this end point, right? And you're striving to get there, right? And children are really discouraged from like doing anything that distracts them from getting to that goal. But I think like when you do allow yourself to kind of veer off the path a bit, you end up enjoying things a lot more, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not, yeah.
So it's going to be, I think for a lot of us, it's going to be like, yeah, okay, great, like set goals and stuff, but also don't get down on yourself if you want to indulge in other hobbies and other things that you enjoy, because
like
that's
being flexible.
Like you could die tomorrow and all of a sudden your goals aren't gonna matter, you know?
That's why we're doing the book thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we've also got the same day, we've got Mercury entering Leo, so that's going to be very nice. People are going to be like communicating in a way that's a lot more like passionate, like very passionate and extroverted communication style, right? Maybe you'll get into some debates too, like heated, but it'll be fun. It's like a fun back and forth with Mercury being in Leo. Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah. And then on August 15th, we have the Sun forming a trine to Chiron and a Mars forming a square to Saturn. So with, again, Sun and Chiron, again, Sun is the source of our vitality, our life force energy, and Chiron is kind of like insecurity and trauma, right? But it's forming like a nice flowing aspect to each other, right? But then at the same time, you've got Mars, which again is that planet of that active sort of influence, forming a kind of more tense aspect to Saturn, which is the planet of restriction, right? So again, that's also bringing up those themes of frustration, right? But I think the overall theme I'm getting from this particular configuration is learning to take up space, feeling comfortable taking up space, right? Like I remember as a kid, like I was always told, like I have always loved to like dress up to like go places, and I was always, my parents would always say it's not a fashion show, right? Like because I mean obviously it's because like I was making them late, but like you know, but it's like I feel like over time you can internalize certain like comments that people make, and you can almost feel like shame for like being like too much, you know what I mean? And so I think people are really going to have to like confront that and like learn to kind of push past that and like break free of those
Well, especially with the
ideas.
way things are lining up, like with the sun and Chiron and like being restricted and everything. I feel like it's like shining a light on your insecurity and like trying to break out of the box.
Yeah.
That's like pretty crazy.
Yeah. See, you would be a good astrologer. You're already getting the symbolism. You're like, you're like, I see the symbols.
Yeah, I hallucinate.
Oh my goodness.
Just like, okay, it's fine.
I love that. I love that little snort.
Oh my god, that just makes me think of Justin Bieber's like, I love that laugh though.
Oh yeah, the Justin Bieber meme. Hadley's like so over it. My mom snorts too though, so I think I think it's so cute. It was funny though when I was working at Starbucks, there was this one lady there, Katie. Jessica, do you remember Katie?
Oh, yes.
Katie would always snort, and then everyone else started doing it too. I started doing it too. We were all snorting.
Oh no.
We would all, and we had the headsets, and you'd be like making jokes over the headsets, and you'd literally like, it would be like everyone was like.
Pigs in there.
I know. No, literally, we were all. It was so bad.
Instead of Starbucks, it's
Starbucks was so fun. There were definitely some conversations had over those earpieces that should not have been had.
God.
Like
Yes.
we were also like children. Like what?
Well, when you're working with like
everyone-
girls and stuff, and like even older, it was like 50-year-olds there.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Honestly,
was
that would have
cool.
been a great place for like child, groomers to like just work at Starbucks with like all the teenagers.
God. Laura, I saw your chart. You need to go to therapy.
I'm gonna get banned off of Instagram. Like saying stuff all this crap in my life. Dark humor. Listen. I have been groomed, okay? So I can make jokes. I can make jokes.
Yeah.
No, it's like I swear, it's like every time I make a messed up joke, people are like, wow, that's really messed up. And it's like, no, but like I lived through it. So you're going to have to accept that this is my way of coping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Humor really is a coping mechanism.
No.
Yeah. August 19th. I mean, it didn't really work though, so. Because I'm a Virgo. It's that discernment. I was like, I know you're trying to groom me right now. I'm reporting you to the police. And I did. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Did I not tell you about this?
I don't know.
I'm going to have to tell you about this after.
Okay, please. I don't remember.
That's why it's great to be, you need a Virgo bestie, because when someone's trying to take advantage of you, a Virgo will be like, yo, that person is sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
You should just offer trauma dumping courses.
That's literally, what do you mean? That's what astrologers do. That's like when you come to an astrology reading, it's like I don't even care if you start off with like the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you. I'll be like, cool, like great. And I'll look at the chart and I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
Really?
Yeah, usually it's like some people will just like tell you straight up that they've had a rough life, and then other people, like I'll see it in their charts and I'm like, I have to like tiptoe around it, like, are you okay? Like, are you all right? Like, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Some people are super upfront, and then that's the thing, everyone's got trauma, right? Like everybody's got trauma, right? There's just some charts where it's like a lot of trauma, and you can see it in the chart and you're like, wow. And there's some people that are like super upfront about that, especially like younger people. I would say like people in our age group are pretty.
Well, because I think it's like has been more of a
it's
regular
less
thing in
it's
our
less
generation.
stigmatized to like
Yeah.
talk about like your mental health and like trauma and stuff.
Yeah.
But like a
It
lot of
never used to
older,
be like
yeah,
that.
exactly,
It'd be like,
exactly.
you just don't talk.
exactly. Like a lot of
Causing more
like.
trauma.
Yes, no, literally. Like
Yeah.
my mom was like, well, we didn't have mental health. And I'm like, no, you all were very mentally, trust me, Mom, you were all very mentally ill. You just didn't, you just didn't like make jokes about how you're in therapy. Like now
Yeah.
people get online and like make jokes like, oh, I saw my therapist today and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, yeah, same bestie,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, like my mom had this huge issue with me not hugging her, and I'm not a hugger at all because I've been like forced to hug people growing up and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
just that my mom like forced me to hug her and my siblings and whatever. And so she was like, "Well, you know what? I find," and I was like, she made a joke being like, "Oh, well, like your poor future child." I'm like, as if I won't hug my child, and she's like, well, and so I told her I was offended, and she's like, well, I find it offensive that you won't hug me. And then, like, I go upstairs and do something, and I come back down later, and I overhear her talking to somebody being like, my mother never hugged me growing up.
Oh God!
I'm just like, well, unfortunate for you, I'm not here to heal you. So.
Yeah, projecting your own trauma onto your
Yeah.
kids.
That's never a
Intergenerational.
win. That's
No.
not a win.
Intergenerational trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that hugs are also like, yeah, some people just
Well,
don't
I
like
don't like
hugs.
hugs.
I don't like hugs.
love hugs.
She's the type of person that's like, oh yeah, we have to hug for 20 seconds because it releases endorphins.
Tell her I started doing that.
I know, it's real.
It's nice when it's like your partner, but
No,
anyone
that's
else
the
I
thing.
don't like touching.
Of course, Eric had to open his bloody mouth and be like, she likes to hug me.
I
was like, shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely the trauma aspect where like my mom will like make comments like that, but then she'll never own up to having her own trauma. But then like,
That's also like the way they were conditioned though in that era, you know?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time my mom makes a comment, or my dad, I'm like, just go talk to a therapist. I'm like so mean about it. I'm so mean.
My mom's fine. My dad's fucked, but he's fine.
It's just needy.
He's fucked.
But he has a therapist.
That's good.
Yeah.
At least. That's good. That's nice.
More.
I sent my partner to therapy.
We love that. August 19th, we've got a full moon at 27 degrees of Aquarius. Okay?
So do we have to pull up our charts?
If you want to, look at where Aquarius is in your chart. I think for me it's like 7th house.
What does the sign look like again?
It's like it's like squiggles.
2 squiggles?
Yeah.
Well, depends on the degree, but it's either second or third.
Can I see? And it's at 27 degrees. That'll be your 3rd house.
What's that?
House of communication.
For a good
Yours
thing or
is
a bad
7,
thing?
so
or
yours
what?
is relationships, marriage, partners, sharing, interpersonal style.
Partners. Pretty open astrology book.
Communication,
so it's
like-
a good thing that is happening, or no? Or it'll be harder to do that.
No, it's you have to look. You can look at like a moon chart and like see how it's like affecting everything.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it'll be probably square. No, maybe not. Maybe it'll be a trine.
So on the 4th, the full moon,
Your
we
Mercury
set
will be
our
involved,
intentions.
though.
And then on the full moon is when we accept our intention.
Okay.
Yeah, new moon set the intention, and then full moon is like it's kind of like a manifestation cycle. It's like you set your sort of goals during the new moon, and then you kind of see the fruits of your labor at the full moon, because the new moon is low energy, right? Because the moon's dark. But then the full moon is high energy, right? So it's like you want to be moving from like a place of low energy and like planning sort of, and like rest to like a place of,
I think it's like a plant. You just like grow. That's what's going on in my head.
Or if you think of it again, like the menstrual cycle, like the full moon's almost like when you're ovulating, and then the new moon's when you're like menstruating.
Okay.
You know it's coming.
No, but do you know what I mean? When you're ovulating, there's like more energy.
Once I started
you're like, I can do.
I felt like a god when I was ovulating.
I know. I feel like aligned.
It's your power week. It's just like you're just
It is
like,
your power week,
exactly. When you work out at the gym, you can totally tell the difference. Like during the ovulation week, you can lift heavier. You're like on top of the world, and then when you're menstruating, you're like doing less. Then you're just like dragging your ass.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it like affects everything, like your strength and everything.
Yeah.
But okay, so the thing about this full moon, Aquarius, so let's talk about Aquarius first, and the moon. The moon is like, the lunar cycle is like very fast, like it's like, 27, 28 days or so, so it's pretty fast. The moon moves very fast. So the moon goes through the entire zodiac, and like, I think it completes an entire round through the zodiac in exactly like 29 and a half days ish. So very fast, right? That's the fastest moving planet. And Aquarius, the moon, wait, I'm getting distracted. The moon is like representative of our sort of like our internal world, like your emotional self, right? It also is associated with things like the mother, with the domestic sphere, with like the home, right? Like where you go to rest and recuperate, right? And Aquarius is the sign of freedom, right? It's a sign of breaking free from restriction. That's what Aquarius is all about, right? So our emotional self is going to very much want to break free during this full moon, right? And the thing is, with the full moon, it's also usually illuminating something, right? So it's maybe perhaps illuminating areas in which there is that restriction, right? And the areas in which we need to learn how to overcome that restriction, right? And it's interesting because the moon is going to be involved in what's called a T-square during this period. So a T-square is when there's an opposition between two planets. Like if you look at a chart, it's like 360 degrees, and when the planets are exactly opposite each other, so they're like 180 degrees away, that's an opposition, right? And then there are times when a planet ends up in the middle of that opposition, forming a square to both of those planets that are opposing each other. So it's creating like a half square. It's a T-square, right?
It's just like really getting involved then? Yes,
it's a lot of tension. It's kind of like you're being pulled apart in 3 different directions, right? So we've got Uranus and Taurus is kind of like the sign that's associated with a need for stability, right? And then we've got the Sun, which is in Leo, right? And the Leo is kind of like all about our individual expression, right? Our self-expression. And then we've also got the moon in Aquarius, we've got that need for collective unity and breaking free from like restrictive and oppressive systems or just ways of being, right? So you've kind of got these different things going on during this full moon, right? There's a need for stability on the one hand, and then there's a need to also like break free on the other, right? So stability and also breaking free. And balancing our individuality within that. You know?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of things, that's a lot of energy that it's going to feel like there's not necessarily like a clear, it's just going to feel like very tense, I think, during that full moon.
So is that something that on the new moon we should try to align our goal with what's like populating in the full moon?
You can definitely do that, yeah. I think it'll naturally, I think things also though too, even if you don't plan for things necessarily, I think the cards typically fall in a way that's aligned with what's going on, even if you don't plan.
Yeah,
you know?
fair.
So it's like some people do really love to plan. Some people do really like planning. They're using astrology as like a planning tool, you know? I'm someone who more or less...
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just kind of let things be what they will be, you know?
Yeah, and then you can like read into them after.
Yeah, I can read into them after. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I was just it was just a not very slay day. I was just taking a break from slaying, you know?
This is
Me
a
too sometimes.
mediocre day.
Yeah. So sometimes you know, there's usually is a planet though, if you look at it. If you're having a really bad day and you look at the transits, you're like, oh, you're like, that's why. So it's nice to sometimes have astrology as a way to like explain things. I think also too though, some people use it as a way to like deflect responsibility, you know what I mean? Which I don't really agree with, because it's also like we have free will.
Yes,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like people love to, I think I went on like a similar rant last time, but like people kind of really like to analyze the charts of like serial killers, for example. And they're like, oh, like Ted Bundy was he was destined in the stars to like be a killer because he's like a Scorpio or something. I don't think he actually is a Scorpio, but do you know what I mean? Like it's that sort of thing where I'm like, you're kind of like, making it seem like it was the universe's fault that he ended up that way. I think that people make a conscious choice. Yeah. People will always choose. So it's like if you're a murderer, it's because you chose to murder someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It didn't just happen.
It's like
it's not like the planet came.
Yeah, you're not just sitting on it.
No.
And so it's like the energies. The thing is, everyone will have like good and bad energies in their chart. But it's also like, how do you define good and bad, right? But the thing is, it's up to you as an individual to determine how you want to express that energy, right? Because there's always going to be darkness inside every one of us. But it's also like, do you let the darkness consume you?
Yeah, it's just a perspective.
Or do you
embrace it and be God?
Yeah.
And
that's the saying, that's that whole like as above, so below. The as above, so below saying is kind of like about how some of the sweetest and most kind and most light individuals will also have had like very deep experiences of trauma, right? So it's like
they don't want you to feel that.
Yeah, so it's like I think like when we talk about power, often people think of power as like subjugation, like exerting your influence over someone else, right?
Yeah.
And that's represented in astrology by like the signs Scorpio and Pluto, right? But the thing is, Pluto is also, it is a very dark influence, but it's also the planet of transformation, right? So it's like when there's darkness, you can use that, you can alchemize that.
I love Pluto.
To do.
Hades has always been my favorite.
It's like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you know? And I think that that's what true power actually is. True power isn't exerting your influence over others to like oppress and suppress them and try and manipulate them into meeting your needs. That's not what power is.
No.
I think power is having had bad experiences, having had that done to you, and saying, I'm going to be different. I'm not going to choose to be that way.
Yeah.
We are
I'm
the
gonna,
change. We
Yeah.
can make a difference.
Exactly. I think that that's what power actually is.
The buck stops here, damn it.
Well, and even like Miss Dirksen was saying like in high school and stuff, and like as dumb as it sounded at the time, she's like, teachers don't fail you, you fail yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you don't do the work, you're failing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have the power to pass this class if you really want it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always so many choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Existing is wild.
I think it's also you have to also hold like a certain level of empathy for yourself though. You know, in order to like.
You have to let yourself
You have to let yourself. You have to be very
you have
forgiving.
To say it's okay,
Yeah.
and that you're only human. You're going to make mistakes, but you also learn and grow.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Because it's just not.
Unless it is.
Unless it is.
But if you're self-aware enough, then you know that it would be.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Awareness of the situation generally means you're innocent.
It also comes through life experiences lived, right? You might not know in the beginning, but then you kind of get this feeling or conscience, and then you learn, right?
Or you go to therapy.
Or somebody goes and tells you, or that's where you got your friends and stuff, right?
Well,
you
like
got good people around.
even as like I've gotten older and even like with high school and stuff, and like only staying in touch with a couple of people, is like the people that I've stayed in touch with, like they will hold me accountable for my actions, and like immature people just won't do that.
Yeah.
And immature people can't empathize with themselves and be forgiving of themselves, but then also be aware of everything else. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think like the people that you kept from high school is like, I don't know, they're so real.
They grow with you, right? Like,
yeah.
And then there's like people from high school that'll say hi to you, and I'm just like, you never spoke to me in high
Yeah,
school.
I know.
And I'm just like, what?
But I hate going to the grocery store.
Yeah, I think people get.
We just all live in the same town. It's fine.
Yeah, I think people get really caught up in, especially in high school. You're like in these little bubbles almost.
Your status.
Well,
yeah. Well, it's just like bubbles. It's like I don't like. There's just some kids that are like, I just call them the normies, like the normal kids, or the kids that are trying to be normal. You know.
well, like
What
And
is
then
normal?
that's the thing is that
it's because
Everything is
there's
normal
like all
to
these
your
like
perception.
cliques or like cliques. Or
it is.
whatever,
It
like,
was high school is very like that, but the thing is too is I think that's. It's very superficial. It's very surface level in high school, and I think the things that people care so much about things in high school, and then as you grow older, you realize that none of that matters. Even though they're
like,
still adults that act like that, though, too.
Yeah.
But
well, it's those type like at least when like we were in high school, I always felt that there was like the like popular people and the like not so popular people, and then like quite a few people would be in that gray area where you're too cool for the weird kids, but then not cool enough for the cool kids. And then, but like all the people that were like cool or popular, their parents were very immature, like themselves, right? So that's what they grew up hearing and listening to, and that's why.
Well, I think it's coming back to the theme of power. I think that a lot of those people had bad like their parents weren't very nice to them.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like a lot of the
immature themselves.
Yeah, I don't know if I call it immaturity. I think it's just a misuse of your energies. I would say. Like I feel like a lot of them grew up in environments where it was like they had that what I was talking about earlier, that power exerted over them. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
As children, no, but then they recreate that in high school. They recreate that trauma that they went through by being mean to other kids, by putting people down without recognizing that is not actually where your power truly lies. Your power doesn't lie in like ostracizing other kids from your group or in insulting the way people look or making fun of people. That's not what true power is. They're recreating, but when that's all you know, you're recreating that. right?
Well, and that's where it goes, where it's like, if I had the tools that I have now and I went back to high school, fuck, I would kill it.
Yeah.
I would kill it in high school. I'm just gonna.
But that's also part of the, that's part of the aging
Yeah.
process. Like, kids don't have that,
Yeah.
you know? Kids don't. Like, they just don't. And, like, their brains aren't, you know.
And we thought our parents were losers. They actually had
Careful.
Jesse's mom always
Yeah.
always good. It's always
But like
good.
I think with the people that were like immature and like bullying per se in high school, it came down to the fact that like their parents lacked control in their own childhood, so they're gaining control with their own children, and then their kids were like domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cycle of trauma.
Yeah.
Love it.
How do you break free from it? No one knows.
Lots of tears, lots of money in therapy.
Talking, yeah. That's everything.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love trauma dumping. Like, it is so therapeutic to me.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of norms surrounding in society, though, of people. I feel like we do live in a very hyper individualized world where it's like, if you talk about,
has to be so unique.
Yeah.
like, it's like, no, but it's almost like people, like, it's like,
The one-upping, kind of?
no, it's just the illusion of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your authentic truth trumps everyone else's authentic truth. If you're living in your authentic truth, then that's like superior to everyone else, right? We don't really understand how to be with other people and to hold space for other people. That's why I hate terms like trauma dumping, because I just don't believe in it. Like, I mean, I'm sure there are certain people that might like cross your boundaries and stuff, but it's like there is like
random people when you're working in retail.
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, like those kinds of people. But like with your friends and with, do you know what I mean? It's like about, for me, it's like there's like you need to have like a genuine connection and stuff, you know? Yeah, all that. Hold space for others. But yeah, okay, so basically full moon though, I would recommend that people, again, we're talking about consolidation of different energies, right? And recognizing that maybe there are points in life where we'll need to lean into one energy more than the others, right? Because I think sometimes we really try to fight against like the energy that's coming in.
Yeah,
like we try to resist it, and that doesn't really work very well, right? So I think leaning into maybe relying on one area more is fine, right? But also take time to study why that is, right? Introspect on why you're leaning into one energy more than another, right? Yeah. And then on August 22nd, we've got the sun in Virgo, so it's Virgo season. Virgo is a mutable sign. I'm a Virgo. So I'm biased. Actually, no, I hate Virgos. It's not. That's not true. That's my least favorite zodiac sign because it's my own sign. So Virgo, though, is a mutable sign, right? Mutable signs are about change. They're located within the year, like if you look at a year, like a calendar for the year, Virgo is located at the intersection between summer and fall, right? So it's when summer is transitioning into fall, you know? So it's about change, and it's about changing the energy from, kind of going from like a really high, like the energy in summer is very high and it's very like hot and,
Summer vibes.
Yeah, summer vibes. So we're kind of like you're coming off a high, with Virgo. The thing though, I want people to kind of like remember about Virgo, Virgo is also associated with the goddess Demeter, who is the goddess of the harvest in Greek mythology, right? And so this is kind of like if you've been putting in work towards something, you will reap the reward, right? The harvest. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like in a literal like money, or it could be like something like more internal, like maybe it's something that you've realized about yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think too, I will remind people though, because Virgo is the sign associated with wanting to be of service to others, Virgos are very much wanting to be of practical use to other people. And so I will say there's a difference between being of service to other people and people pleasing, because Virgos can lean into some of that people pleaser energy. There's a difference between those two things, people pleasing and being of service.
Yeah. You can say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
August 24th. Mars sextile Chiron. Yeah. Again, I think that's going to come back because, again, Mars is in Gemini, that very childlike sign, that air sign of like all these little hobbies and all this,
Very Gemini.
Curious. Yes, it is very Gemini, which is good for you because you're a Gemini. But yeah, Mars is sextiling Chiron. So again, Chiron is in Aries, so it's about the wound of the self, right? And then you've got kind of that Mars in Gemini, which is that very childlike energy, which again is coming back to that theme of like inner child themes, right? Nurturing your inner child, right? And then on August 28th, Mercury goes direct again. So Mercury will basically stop going retrograde, and it'll be business as usual. Mercury will be moving in a forward motion, So yeah, Mercury retrograde, don't freak out too much about it. I feel like people
feel like there's worse retrogrades to be in.
Yeah. And then lastly, August 29th, we have Venus in Libra, right? So Venus is going from Virgo, which is the sign of its fall, to Libra, which is its domicile. So Venus is in her dignity in the sign of Libra, right? So Venus in Libra is very nice. It's very loving. It's very caring. It's also a time for like artistic pursuits as well.
Love that.
Yeah. It's going to be very too with Venus in Libra. People are also often very they're very interested in being the role of the mediator, because Libra is all about kind of consolidating opposing energies, right? Like it's all about like, it's very like agreeable, Venus in Libra, I will say. There can be sometimes like in an extreme instance, people can get a little bit like too avoidant with regards to conflict, right? Because with Venus in Libra, there's this dislike of polarity, right? When like one person thinks one thing and one person thinks another thing, there's this desire for them to like come and meet in the middle, right? But because there's this dislike of polarity, there can also be a fear of conflict, right? Because you get afraid of like rocking the boat. You don't want to rock the boat, with Venus in Libra. So, yeah. That is one thing to watch out for.
So
Argue before.
Yeah. Stop fighting.
It is that stop fighting.
Yeah.
That's like my mom, because my mom's a Libra. My mom's got a Libra stellium, and so like I'll be talking. If one of us even raises our voice at each other, like me and my siblings, my mom will be like, "Stop fighting," or even if we're just having a very passionate conversation and we're not even arguing, she'll be like, "Stop fighting."
Oh God.
Yeah.
Just love.
Yeah.
It's like peaceful.
Come and hug you.
I always say that Libra is like a very like liberal sign. You
I
know?
mean, they sound very similar.
Yeah, Libras are. That's what I'm like my mom's such a liberal, and I'm like, yeah, that's because you've got that Libra stellium.
Yeah.
So of course you'd be.
It's funny.
That's why I'm an Aquarius type. I love an Aquarius because Aquarius is like, stick it to the man, like dismantle the system. And a Libra's like, no, we can get along. Like the billionaires and the working class can coexist in peace and harmony. And it's
They can feed everybody. They just ask them nice.
yeah, I know, and I'm like, you don't hear yourself right now. Like that sounds like to me, to a Virgo, that sounds delusional. Like that is.
But it's a nice thought.
It's lovely. It's a great thought. I love it. World peace. It's not working.
Yeah.
It's like that meme where it's like, do you know the meme I'm talking about? Where it's like, stop. This isn't like you. Like, do you know the meme?
I haven't seen that one.
I've been trying so hard not to be on social media.
No, but it's like an old meme. It's like, stop. This isn't like you. Like girlfriends talking to their boyfriend, their violent boyfriend.
Oh,
You know, sort of
I
thing.
get the vibe, but I don't think I've seen that meme.
You haven't?
You're gonna have to send it to me.
I don't think I've seen that.
Sorry.
It's kind of like that, though.
Your feed is so unique.
Yeah. No, a Libra would go up to like some sort of like genocidal maniac and be like, this isn't like you, stop. We want peace. Or something. I'm gonna get so roasted now. I do Libras.
Yeah, you always forget that you're live.
I know, Libras, there's some good attributes. I'm just biased because this is the thing, you guys. I'm just biased because both my parents are Libras, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't.
My dad
You
is
got-
Scorpio.
yeah.
It's
You live with
too
two.
easy.
Yeah, I live with two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Enough said.
Libras do not fight though. So that's like a positive, I guess.
Well, some fighting is okay.
Yeah, exactly. No hate to the Libras.
No hate.
No heat to the Libras. I just think a Libra. I just think a Libra needs some Aquarius. You know.
Are Libras like too soft?
Yeah, a little bit. That's that whole like peace, love, right? Venus ruled that Venus.
Like
peace and
Ginny
love.
from Forrest Gump.
Ginny from Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I've never seen Forrest Gump.
What? All right.
Really watch it.
This is over.
Sorry, Lauren.
That's
That's your
You've
moment.
never seen Forrest Gump?
I've seen like parts of it.
Ginny! No?
No, I've
She
seen
becomes
parts
a
of
hippie
it.
peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Because she's a Libra.
Possibly.
We don't know.
She's very avoidant.
Yeah.
That does sound like a Libra.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then also in some points when like she was younger with Forrest, she was always sticking up for Forrest and telling him to run.
That's true.
So
That's true.
She also had his kid.
yeah.
You know what? All signs in the
Forrest.
zodiac have
Yeah.
benefits and drawbacks.
Junior.
That's the
Sorry, Lauren, spoiler alert.
I need to watch Forrest Gump, and all zodiac signs are amazing. We love
Yeah.
all zodiac signs.
Yeah.
Nice. Good consensus.
Yes. That, you know what? That's your monthly goal, to watch Forrest Gump.
Yep.
No, my PDA is going to kick in if you tell me I have to watch it.
Okay.
Okay,
My demand avoidance.
Don't
No,
you
it's like
dare.
if you watch Forrest Gump, I won't ever see you again.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, anyways,
Yeah.
that's it for today, folks.
That's
There's
awesome.
Yes.
some people that joined. Thank you
August
everyone for
seems
joining. Yeah, August is going to be lit. I'm excited.
Till next month.
My no working starts.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. But the whole like too many projects at once thing, I totally get, because Eric and I are supposed to be putting new flooring in our place, and like I'm gonna be gathering up all the baby stuff, trying to move